Hello and welcome to Like a Native Speaker. As you can see, I'm growing a beard because it's getting colder and beards are awesome. You know what? Beers are also awesome. Beards and beers. Wait, what was I talking about? Oh, right, of course. I was talking about the hidden affricate sounds. In a previous lesson, I talked about affricate sounds in English, specifically our two affricate sounds, ch and j. When we talk about the phonology of English, the sounds of English, we talk about only having those two affricate sounds, ch and j. But English also contains two kind of secret affricate sounds, ts and z. Now, when we're talking about these sounds, we don't actually consider them full sounds on their own. It's not a sound of English, the ts or z sound. The reason is that the ts or z sound is not a complete sound by itself, not in English anyway. You will never find this sound at the beginning of words and very rarely in the middle of words. No, this sound is actually almost always at the end of words, and specifically when we add a plural. As you can tell from my example earlier, beers and beards. Other languages have these sounds as actual full complete sounds. For example, Japanese and the word tsunami. After 2011, the word tsunami entered many different languages, including English, but most native speakers will just pronounce it tsunami, tsunami, and completely cut the affricate sound and just make it that sibilant sound, that S, tsunami, tsunami. Now, here's the tricky part. Because this sound is at the end of words, it's actually often tricky to hear the difference. Listen to these two words, beers, beards, beers, beards. The sound is almost the same. The second word, the only difference there is there's a slight stop and a little bit more aspiration, a little bit stronger air. Beards, beards. You can almost hear that D sound. Another example, cars, cards, cars, cards. The second one has a little bit more friction. It's a little less smooth. Cards, cards, cars. So when you're listening, you want to hear for that extra z sound. An example of the voiceless one is actually with an adjective. Tense, 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 tense. That friction is the key difference in pronunciation, but that difference is really small. And to be honest, even most native speakers can't catch it. And this is where we use context. Context is using the situation, what you're talking about, where you're talking about, or who you're even talking to. All of those things can help you decide which word they're saying. If your friend points to a group of men and says, "Those are nice beards," they're probably talking about the facial hair. But if you're at the store and they're pointing at the refrigerator saying, "Those are nice beers," then, again, the context will probably help you. Of course, there's always a situation where we can see men with beards and beers, and then the context is less clear. At that point, ask. Native speakers do this to clarify all the time. If we're not sure which word they said, we'll usually say them both with emphasis on the different sound. For example, "Man, those are nice beers." Beers or beards? Oh, I said beers, but they have nice beards too. Asking that question is perfectly normal. Beers or beards? Adding that extra emphasis makes it clear what you want to clarify. So give that a shot next time. Again, we have the two hidden affricate sounds, ts and z. They're not full sounds because they don't occur at the beginning of words and very rarely in the middle of words. The major sound difference is that extra friction in the airflow. Zzz, 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 zzz. but the difference is so small that it can be hard to catch, especially if you're having a normal conversation. At that point, you can easily use context to understand the situation, or if context is not clear enough, just ask. It's perfectly okay. No one will get upset. No one will get offended, especially if you use that common expression style, beers or beards, with that extra emphasis on the sound. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you think my beard is sexy, please like this video. And I will see you next time with a bigger beard.